Hello, it's Jane here. You can probably tell I'm not at the allotment, but if I explain to you why, I'm actually in a little cubby hole in my house where I keep my computer and where I do my editing. And the reason I'm here is because I just want to do a little introduction to this week's video. What happened? A couple of weeks ago, I went along and heard a very interesting gardener called Neil, who you'll meet, talk about his method of gardening, which not only includes no dig, not only includes organic methods, but also includes sowing seeds by the phases of the moon. Now, this is an area that I've dipped into every now and then, but I've never really taken it any further. And I want to know a bit more about it. And I think that's the thing as gardeners, there's always something else we can learn. There's always something new or exciting, or in this case, not new. Actually, it's a practice that's as old as the hills, as we'll hear. But yeah, it's just a fascinating subject. And whether what follows will encourage you to try it yourself, whether you've tried it yourself before, it's worked for you, it hasn't worked for you, it's just part of, we talk about the biodiversity of our gardens, it's part of the biodiversity of gardeners themselves, or at least the diversity of gardeners themselves. So have a little look, see what you think. Neil has very, very kindly allowed me to use some of his photographs that he's taken throughout the last 12 months at his allotment, so you can see just how healthy and just gorgeous his crops look. So have a little look and let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll leave all the links, I think I mentioned, I'll leave all the links including to Neil's Facebook page and his YouTube channel down below, so go and say hello to him and just let me know what you think. But I'll shut up now and I'll let you watch the video if I haven't just lost the whole thing. Okay, enjoy. Hello Neil, how are you?
Hey Jane, thanks for coming.
That's all right. Now Neil, I believe that you are a huge advocate of what we would call planting by the phases of the moon.
Yeah, I've done it for years.
Well, this is it. We were discussing this before. I actually came along to a talk that Neil gave at his allotment site on Sunday, and I just had to find out more because to me it seems like it's still a relatively new way of doing things. It's something that people have mentioned in the past, but it's seen as a bit of a mad thing to do, in the same way that people used to look at vegetarianism in the 1970s as people who were a little bit odd. No. Are you that odd?
I don't, well, I'm hoping not, but a lot of people will say I am.
But how long have you been doing it for?
Well, I've been doing it for over 45 years. I was taught when I come from a little village called Seiford, about 9 miles away from here, and it's a little farming village. So as soon as I was 13, I wanted to earn some money, and I went working on the land. I got a job on a farm. Now my boss, he taught me all about the moon phases. He could predict the weather for planting crops.
And this is how many years ago?
47 years ago.
Wow.
47 years ago. Yeah. He's into his 80s now.
Right.
And he's a very good friend.
Okay.
And he was taught this by his mother. And she was taught it by her parents.
Wow.
So this was the third generation.
Yeah.
And what we used to do, he taught me how to sow certain plants, whether it's leafy crops that produce above the ground and root crops that produce underground. And from the crops that he was getting, with the corn and everything, I used to come home and I used to practice it, because I've done the gardening at home. My mum grew all the flowers and I did all the vegetables. And I used to do it that way. So I went to school, and when I was 13, and I was doing environmental science, which is posh word for gardening.
Yeah.
So I told my gardening teacher, he'd go mad if I called it gardening. I just told him about it, and he says, let's do some trials. So it got to a stage, we did it for 3 years, and it got to the stage where he'd say to me, he says, "You got games this afternoon, haven't you?" This is at lunchtime. I says, "Yeah." He says, "Do you want to come up here instead?" "Yeah." So he used to write me a note.
I wish we'd all had an environmental science teacher like that. Yeah.
3 years I never did games cross country or PE, nothing. I had extra games, and we did trials. So all the root crops we'd sow in the waning phase, and we'd also sow those crops in the waxing phase, just to see the difference.
Trial. Yeah.
They still produced,
yeah,
but you didn't get the weights when you harvested them.
Right. Okay.
And what I found, I made a mistake on here last year. I come to harvest some young turnips to chop up, soak in vinegar and have them with your salad.
Yeah.
And they got lovely tops on them. So I pulled them up, and there was nothing on the bottoms.
No.
So I looked through my diary, and I'd sown those in the waxing phase. So you've got more tops than you have bottoms.
So can you explain to me that? And again, I've got to ask you about this, Neil. When I have looked into it before, I've always known it as waxing and waning.
Yeah. It's just the way I say whining, it's waning, whining.
So the whining is waning.
Exactly. Okay,
because I thought maybe we were onto a slightly different thing, but it's the same.
No, it's the same thing.
So can you explain to me, in layman's terms here, why a waxing moon will affect your crop differently to a waning stroke whining
This is
moon?
dead easy.
Okay.
This is dead easy. So you've got your new moon. The new moon is a small moon. And then 15 days later, 14, 15 days later, sometimes 16, you'll get a full moon, which is a massive moon. Every night from the new moon, the moon's getting bigger.
Right, okay.
So we all know the moon controls our oceans. It's drawing moisture up from the earth all the time.
And the tide's moving.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Deep sea fishermen, majority of deep sea fishermen won't go out on a full moon. The fish go right down to the bottom and then you get a third of the crop.
Is that a scientific fact?
I've found that on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Not YouTube, on Google.
Oh, right, okay. It must be true.
Everything I'm coming out with, I've looked on Google and done it. But I learnt everything from my old boss.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got your new moon and your full moon. The moon's getting bigger every night up until the full moon. That is called the waxing phase.
Right, yeah.
So the best time to sow seeds for the waxing phase is 4 to 5 days before the full moon. Okay, so in the greenhouse here, we've got me peas, which are multi-sown, and I've sown these during the waxing phase. So for the waxing phase, it's between the new moon and the full moon. So the moon is getting bigger every night. It is drawing more of the atmosphere up and the moisture up from the earth.
Can we just see how healthy those are, Neil? Because they look incredibly healthy. There's no dying off, or people worry about sowing things and them going leggy at this time of year.
They will be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
These will be in the allotment this weekend.
Wow. Yeah.
And these were sown mid-February, during the waxing phase, mid-February.
Okay.
You need it for the germination. It doesn't matter about when you plant it out.
Right.
It's the actual germination.
Okay.
So you sow your seeds on that germination, you're going to have a much stronger plant. With us doing trials when we sowed that in the whining phase, which is the opposite way round, you don't get the crops. You don't get the weight.
So can you give me an example of... For example, if I'm going to trial this, what would be the best sort of crop? What would I see the results from most? Would it be something quick growing like lettuce?
They're sown in the waxing phase because they produce above the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, so they'll be really healthy plants.
Okay, because they're growing
upwards
as the moon's getting bigger.
Any green plant, between 85-90% of a plant is water. So with the moon getting bigger every night, it's drawing moisture up off the ground.
Okay.
You're pulling upwards.
Yeah.
With the moisture, so the plants are being pulled upwards.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we want to grow root crops, we wait for the full moon, and then the moon gets smaller and smaller and smaller each night until it gets to the new moon. That is called the waning phase.
Right.
We've got radish, which is one of the fastest growing vegetables, but these are a root vegetable. So these were sown at the end of February under the waning phase. So it's 4 to 5 days before the new moon. The new moon is a smaller moon, and there's less. The Earth's gravity is taking effect more than the full moon does. So these are sown in modular trays again, but there's 6 or 7 seeds in there. You just pop it out straight into the ground, and when you come to harvest it, you just pull the outside one off that's growing bigger than the rest and leave the others to grow. The best time to sow is 4 to 5 days before the new moon for your root crops.
Because that's when it's strongest.
That's when the earth is taken over the gravity.
Okay.
And it's pulling downwards. So you're getting bigger crops.
Okay, so in my head, moon getting bigger, crops getting above the ground, moon getting smaller, crops beneath the ground. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, we saw, for an example, in your greenhouse, the quality of those seedlings. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. They are just, you know, you very often think, well, you're going to have 1 or 2 sort of leggy plants, but you know that's sort of the proof of the pudding there.
They're fine.
Just thinking about, I think you mentioned this the other day. Sorry, I keep going back, which is what I do. I do waffle, as you know, but Neil has inspired so many thoughts up here. Didn't you say the other day, was it Charles Dowding, who showed a cross section of a beetroot?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about the beetroot.
Right. He cut a beetroot directly in half. I haven't actually done this, but this is what I've seen him do.
Yeah.
He's cut it directly in half, where you've got the root there and your tops there, straight down, and you'll see rings.
Yeah.
Each one of those rings will represent a full moon and a new moon.
Yeah, okay.
It's just like cutting a tree. You'll be able to tell how many years how old the tree is.
So, in that case, let me, this bit of a test for me here. The wider the ring will be the waning moon.
I would say so, yes.
Yes, and okay, so it's going down to the roots. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I'm going to have to try and do that, though, Neil. But yeah, I think it's just really interesting, and it's not newfangled science, as I think you've proved.
It's generations old.
It is, and we really, we should really value what's been passed down over generations, and just try it out for yourself. I'm certainly going to go home and plant my lettuce. I'm going to do a trial. I'm going to do lettuce, Neil. I know it's a day after the optimum time, but I will do lettuce this week, and then if I wait 14 days, I'll do more lettuce, and I'll just see how long it takes to germinate, because we can't do it time-wise, can we? Because we can't compare them next to each other, but we'll have a little look at the healthier plants. So yeah, I might well be a convert. So thank you very, very much. And Neil does actually have his own Facebook group in which you talk about all no-dig and organic methods that he uses on his allotments. So do go along. And also there's a YouTube channel which you've started.
It's only a young one. It's only just started.
So wouldn't it be great if we could have some subscribers along there?
I'm not as professional as Jane, but
I'm long in the tooth, but no, but it's certainly, I'll put the links below and you'll be able to go and have a look, and it's just really exciting, isn't it? It's always something new to learn, so thank you very much.
And just on that, the talk I did on Sunday, I'm going to do exactly the same again, but on video.
Oh, brilliant.
So it will be on YouTube.
Oh, that's brilliant. It was really, really interesting, so yeah, do go along and give them some support. So thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you for coming.
It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.